The contemporary society essentially stands between the two antithetical conditions of isolation and hyperconnection. They define the field of analysis in which to investigate the idea of refuge as a home, or the home as a refuge, highlighting the dichotomous relationship between the domestic space and the house intended as a shelter. Our way of living had globally changed, speeding up an already happening transformation of the home, in particular for precarious or young workers. The domestic space turned into a refuge, containing working, studying, and leisuring areas, in an additional process of times and functions. The design developed in a network of hyper-connected shelters. Our homes became our studios, composing itself through remote meetings, calls, and sketches, in a critical process of disassembling and recomposing elements with an openly exploratory intent. Moving from the heritage modern crossroad, the design of the shelter proceeds through an inductive approach that starts working on the pavilion to let the thematic research emerge, theorizing by doing therefore that investigates the refuge both as a retreat and as a place of stratification of memories. The investigation of the shelter as a retreat from the world proceeded questioning the archetypes, from Logier's Petit Caban to Le Corbusier's Cabanon, from Torosat to Semper's Caribbean one, from the Magic Bus to the Ono Bomber's shelter, passing through Lucy Horta and Vitruvio. The classic idea of an historical ruin finds in the shelter a paradoxical existing condition. It is destined to become a home gradually composed by parts and elements, a ruin in reverse that embraces manipulations and betrayal, assembling a palimpsest trespassing the boundaries of time. A perpetual modification of a space where rituals, objects, and artworks are continuously collected, as for Johnson's house. This makes the shelter a multi-temporal space where the stratification constitutes an archive of memory. The accumulation process raises a reflection on the antithetical action of spoliation. The shelter is bare, assembled with poor waste element coming from the artificial construction chain. The imperfect materials cross through different places, making the shelter universal, thus belonging to every context. Deprived of any tinsel, the shelter is an essential and existential space. The human body postures and domestic rituals trigger and tectonically shape the refuge. The discretized elements act as evocative archetypes of domesticity. The wanderer conquests a safe refuge by ascensionally entering the staircase at the ground floor, conceived as the space for the standing body. The refuge is suspended, detached from the ground by imprecisely overlapping columns, grafting on the water room. A drain pipe collects and conveys the rainwater and the waste materials. In the habitable niche, the spaces and devices for living are literally carved out of the thickness of some of the perimetral walls that embrace the retreat. Here, the visitor can manage the fireplace, or he can lay in the bedroom, a private and intimate space for isolation and self-representation, but at the same time connected to the outside world through a small window of heaven. The upper level offers shelter to the horizontal body that protects with a thin altana. The pathway is derivatively difficult, reaching a space from where to have an unexpected view of the surrounding context. We recall the extraordinary life of the poet Valentino Zaiken, that after upper-class visits retired to an ascetic life in his hut in Borghetto Flaminio, a few steps away from our university. A shack made of an entrance, a fireplace, a radio, books, and a window overlooking the sky. A primitive dimension of living resulting from a process of reduction that in our case identified the elements constituting the shelter. A toolkit made of basic elements evoking the domestic rituals that are essential to inhabit the space. What is essential? It can be a tangible object or it can transcend the physical side, a fireplace, a bathroom, a bed, but also the atmosphere, the light. In this sense, the Roman shelter aims to embody the buon ritiro from the hyper-connected society, to embrace again the simplicity. And you? What can you live without?